You lie still, but the world hasn't entirely vanished. There is breath, there is warmth, a soft hum of awareness that does not belong to waking or dreaming something in between. You are floating now, not through space, but through a space, inside yourself. This moment before sleep deepens, or after it begins to fade, holds you like a tide at pause. Your limbs feel heavy, but not painful. The mind notices before the body responds. Thought wanders slowly, as if coated in mist. And then a question appears, as quiet as your breath. Where are you? Not fully awake, not quite asleep. You are between. There is a name for this in sleep science, the hypnagogic state when entering sleep, and its mirror, hypnopompic, when leaving it. These transitions are delicate. The borders between waking and sleep are not like doors that slam shut. They are more like veils that ripple, or fog that shifts with a breeze. In this space, your mind still remembers how to think, how to observe, but the body begins to slip away. It relaxes, it releases. Are paused. Conscious control fades like a sunset, slowly, color by color. And yet, sometimes, something unusual happens here. The veil doesn't fall evenly. The body may be deeper in sleep, while the mind returns before it should. A misalignment, a biological misstep that brings with it a strange kind of stillness, a stillness that can feel like being held down. But this is not an error. This is not brokenness. It is your brain doing what it evolved to do, protect you. Your sleeping brain keeps your body still to keep you safe from acting out dreams. This process is called REM atonia. Without it, the motions of dreams could become movements of danger. The stillness is a gift, a gentle cage made of care. But if awareness returns too early, that gift feels like a prison. You open your eyes and you cannot move. The breath is there, but it feels distant. The world looks real, but something is wrong. The mind begins to reach for reasons, for meaning. Why can't I move? What is happening? Who is here? The brain, always eager to explain, begins to create doubt, and so begins sleep paralysis. This chapter, this in-between, not the paralysis itself. It is the threshold where the strange may begin. But even here, understanding brings comfort. The science of this moment tells you, you are not broken. You are not alone. And what you feel has form and pattern. In the dim space between waking and dreaming, the brain activates strange networks. The boundaries between inner world and outer world grow soft. Images arise. Sounds echo that no one else hears. Time stretches, then folds. This space is old. It is where myths were born, stories of spirits, of voices in the dark, of shapes sitting on chests. Cultures across time have given names to what lives here, but you, here, tonight, are not here to fear it. You are here to listen. Your brain, like all human brains, is deeply rhythmic. It cycles through sleep like a wave passing over sand. Light sleep, deep sleep, REM, then back again. And each time, as you pass from one to the next, you cross this strange borderland. Some nights it goes unnoticed, others it lingers. And in rare moments, it holds you just long enough to remember it. You float, not in danger, but in discovery. Your senses begin to drift from the outer world to the inner. You may feel as if you are falling, or rising, or hovering. These are called hypnagogic hallucinations, not because they are false, but because they are not tied to the outside world. They are born within by the same brain that builds your waking perception. The brain is always building, even now. It composes your world from pulses of electricity, from memory, from meaning. It creates continuity where none exists. It fills gaps. It invents time. And here, between two states, the brain is especially creative. The rules loosen. Time slows. The mind is no longer bound by what is, only what it believes. You might hear whispers. You might see shapes. You might feel that something is near. And yet, all of it arises from you, not from outside, not from beyond. The space between waking and sleep is not empty. It is a canvas. It is a story unfolding in layers. You rest in a moment that is neither here nor there, like a foot hovering between two steps. It is okay not to understand it all. The brain was never built to give you full access to its workings. But science allows you a gentle glimpse behind the curtain. Sleep paralysis and the states around it are not supernatural. They are not punishments. They are the echoes of protective mechanisms, ancient ones working as they should. You feel still. But even now, your brain hums softly with rhythm and life. The next time you enter this state, you may not fear it. You may float. The curtain of sleep sways slightly, then begins to close. But something stirs within. The question comes again. If the body sleeps and the mind wakes, ... what happens next? Asterisk, you open your eyes and the world seems unchanged. Your room is familiar. Shadows are where they should be. But something is different. You try to move and nothing happens. Your arms are heavy stone. Your legs do not answer. Even your voice is locked inside you. The breath continues, soft and shallow, but it feels distant as if it belongs to someone else. You are awake, but not free. This is sleep paralysis. It arrives suddenly, without warning, like slipping into a dream you didn't choose. It does not hurt, but it unsettles you in a way few things can. For those few moments long or short, your body no longer listens, and yet it is not broken. It is working exactly as it should. Sleep paralysis begins with a misalignment, quiet disagreement between body and mind. During REM sleep, the deepest stage of dreaming, your brain silences your muscles. This is called REM atonia, and it protects you from acting out your dreams. Imagine if, in a dream, you are running through a forest and your body moved with you. Without REM atonia, sleep could become dangerous. You might thrash, shout, or walk. So the brain does something wise. It disconnects motion from the dream. But sometimes the dreaming brain wakes too soon. It returns to awareness while the body remains in its protective stillness. And so, for a short time, you experience both states at once: mind awake, body asleep. This overlap is the root of the paralysis. It is not illness. It is timing. And while it can feel terrifying, it is entirely natural. You lie there, eyes fluttering. Open. You see your ceiling, your walls, the faint pattern of light shifting through the curtains. But you cannot sit up. You cannot turn your head. You are held. The fear doesn't come from pain. It comes from confusion. Respond quickly to danger, to send signals, to act. And when the body does not respond, the brain interprets this as threat. It doesn't know it's safe. And so it begins to search for an explanation. The mind, always seeking reason, begins to fill the silence with possibility. Perhaps someone is here. Perhaps something is wrong. Perhaps this is not your room. Fear gives shape to stillness. And then the hallucinations may come. You might hear footsteps, a whisper, breathing that is not yours. You might see something at the foot of the bed or in the corner of the room. Something watching, but nothing is there. Not really. These are not delusions. They are creations, the brain's attempt to explain the unexplainable. The fear creates form, a dark shape, a weight, a presence. But these things are born within. They have no power. They are echoes of a protective brain doing its best. Even as you feel the weight of immobility, your nervous system is in a dance. The brainstem holds your muscles in gentle silence while your cortex flickers awake. You are straddling two realities. Some describe the sensation as being underwater but muffled. Others say it feels like floating, like being pinned by invisible threads. The experience varies, but the core remains. The body is still, the mind is alert, and the two are waiting to reunite, and they will. Sleep paralysis is always temporary. It lasts seconds, sometimes minutes, never forever. Your body will return. To you, the thread will reconnect. The stillness will lift. You may feel panic rising, but even that has a reason. When you cannot move, your brain thinks you are in danger. It triggers the fight or flight response. Your heart may race, your breath may quicken, but your body is not in danger. It is at rest. Knowing this changes things. Understanding is a light in the darkness. When you know what's happening, the fear softens. You can observe the moment instead of being trapped in it. You can breathe. You can wait. Many who experience sleep paralysis more than once begin to recognize it. Some even learn to navigate it, like a lucid dreamer guiding a ship through fog. They float, they observe, they drift. You may not be able to move your limbs, but you can move your awareness. You can rest inside the stillness. You can listen to the quiet hum of the body's machinery. Your brain is not failing you. It is protecting you. It just woke a little too early, and still there is wonder in this strange space. To be awake while your body sleeps is to witness a hidden layer of human experience. To feel the divide between will and action. To understand, for a moment, how much of you works without your asking. Your breath continues. Your heart beats. Your organs hum. Even without your command, your body carries you. And slowly, the return begins. A twitch in a finger. A sigh. The veil lifts. The link is restored. You wake fully this time, and you remember not just the fear, but the mystery, the beauty of that fragile bridge between worlds, the trust your body gives you, and the silence it holds you in. Tonight, if it happens again, you will know you are not broken. You are not dying. And now you know how to listen. But what of those shadows that seem to appear? The figures that stand silently, watching, pressing, breathing. If the body is still and the mind is aware, what creates the fear behind the eyes? What gives form to the dark? What makes the unseen feel real? That is where we go next. Asterisk, it starts with a pressure, not pain, but presence. A sense that something else is in the room with you. Maybe standing in the corner. Maybe seated beside the bed. On your chest, you feel the weight of it, invisible yet undeniable. Your body still refuses to move. Your eyes may be open, but the rest of you lies still beneath that heavy silence. You are not alone. Or so it feels. You are still in sleep paralysis. But now it is changing shape. For many, this moment arrives in shadows. Figures take form. You may not see them clearly, perhaps a blur or silhouette, or just the sense of something. Something watching, something leaning close, something pressing down. It may feel like fear, but it is more than fear. It is your brain trying to understand. Your mind, caught between wakefulness and dreaming, is reaching for meaning, and in that grasp, it begins to paint. The shadow is not real, in the way your room is real, but it is real in feeling, real enough to tighten your breath, real enough to keep you still, even if you could move. The shadow is a story your brain tells when it's unsure of what is happening. You are not imagining it, but it is imagined. These shadowy visitors are called hypnopompic hallucinations. They arrive when consciousness returns during REM atonia. Your visual cortex, the part of your brain responsible for seeing, is partially active. But it's working without a tether to the outside world, so it creates. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, is also active. When the amygdala detects threat, it amplifies emotion. Your breath feels short. Your chest feels trapped. Your thoughts race. And the amygdala begins to shape fear into image. Often, that image is a presence, a figure, a shadow. This is not madness. This is not madness. Long ago, our ancestors survived by responding quickly to danger, especially in the dark. A shape in the night could mean a predator. A whisper in the silence might be a warning. We evolved to be sensitive to subtle cues, to err on the side of caution. In the half-sleep of paralysis, your brain errs. The result is a phantom born of neural noise and ancestral memory. Across cultures and centuries, people have described this figure. In Newfoundland, it is known as the Old Hag. In Japan, Kanashibari. In Nigeria, the devil on your back. Despite distance and language, the experience is similar. The sense of a heavy, dark presence, often sitting or looming. Why the chest? Why this pressure? It begins with breath. During REM sleep, your breathing is shallow and automatic. When you awaken into paralysis, you become aware of that breath, but cannot deepen it. The sensation is unfamiliar, and so it becomes unsettling. Add fear. And your chest tightens further. Your brain seeks cause, and so the mind weaves it into the story. Something is sitting on me, and the story continues. The shadow might move. It might whisper. It might lean in. But all of this, every motion, every murmur, is imagined by your brain, not seen by your eyes. Still, the fear is real. Some people cry out. Some believe they've been visited by spirits. Others are left wondering if it was a dream at all. But science tells us this: sleep paralysis is not paranormal. It is deeply personal, and the shadow is not a visitor. It is you, a mirror of your fear, shaped by a brain searching for order in confusion. What comforts many is this: the shadow cannot harm you. It cannot touch you. It cannot speak truths. It is only a projection, like a film playing on the inside of your eyelids. If you know this, the fear lessens. If you understand this, the shape may fade. Some who experience sleep paralysis regularly begin to recognize the pattern. They know the pressure. They feel the presence, and yet they remain calm. Some even interact with it. It is not about fighting. It is about observing. When you understand that your brain is painting with fear, you begin to see the brushstrokes. You see the echoes of childhood stories, cultural archetypes, deep-seated instincts. The monster in the dark is ancient and internal, and yet there is something oddly poetic about it. That in your most vulnerable state, your mind creates a guardian of fear to alert you, to protect you, to wake you, even in error. The brain means well. This experience may never feel pleasant, but it need not feel cursed. It is a glimpse into how powerful the brain is, how quickly it can fill emptiness with emotion, shape with memory, fear with form. The shadow on your chest is not real, but the science behind it is. And with that knowledge, you gain something important, not control, perhaps, but clarity. You are not being visited. You are not being held. You are being shown a story woven from your own mind. When the episode ends, and it always does, the shadow fades like mist in the morning. The breath returns, the body stirs, and the room is only a room again. But the question remains: why does the mind create such vivid scenes? Why does it blend the waking world with dreams so seamlessly? Perhaps we must look more closely at the edge between dream and wakefulness ... where you may not be fully awake at all, where you might wake only to find yourself still dreaming. That is where we go next. You wake up, or do you? Your room looks the same. The light falls softly on the floor, but your movement feels strange, as if your limbs bend through honey, as if gravity has forgotten its weight. You take a step, and the floor seems to shift. You blink. You are dreaming, but you think you're awake. This is the blurred space of false awakening. Here, The mind mimics the waking world so closely it fools itself. You may go about your routine rising, brushing your teeth, walking to the window all within the frame of a dream, until something reveals itself. A detail out of place, a light that won't switch, a clock that won't read right. The illusion cracks. You realize you're still asleep. This is the borderland where sleep paralysis often overlaps with lucid dreaming. The two states bleed into each other. One moment you cannot move, the next you can, but only inside a dream. Your body lies still. Your mind walks freely, and in this strange overlap, you are both prisoner and creator. The science behind this is rooted in REM sleep. During this stage, your brain is as active as when you are awake. Electrical patterns flicker. Visual centers light up. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic and self-awareness, is dimmed but not entirely off. Sometimes it flickers awake. And when it does, you begin to know you're dreaming. This is lucid dreaming, a state in which you become aware inside. The dream, some train for it, others arrive by accident, but many encounter it by passing through the threshold of paralysis. Imagine it like this. You wake inside your mind, but the body sleeps on. You are free to roam your inner landscape, a city of memories, fears, and fragments. The walls may shimmer. The air may hum. Logic loosens its grip, and imagination becomes architecture. What you feel is real. Within, the bed you lie in may be made of stone. The mirror may reflect someone else. Your voice may echo with the tone of dreams. The world looks like yours, but behaves like no world you know, and sometimes within this space, the fear from sleep paralysis follows you. You may rise from your body in the dream and still feel watched, still feel that shadow nearby. It walks with you into the dream, not as a separate being, but as memory, as echo. Your dreaming mind carries it forward, but here you can change things. In lucid dreaming, the rules are malleable. If you remember you are dreaming, you can breathe life into calm. You can reshape the world, turn fear into light, turn the figure into a friend. It doesn't always work. Lucidity slips away quickly. The brain is delicate in this balance. Too much awareness and you wake. Too little and you forget you were ever dreaming. But even the attempt is powerful because it teaches you this. Your mind can learn to recognize itself even in its deepest illusions. You may be dreaming of your bedroom, or a forest, or a place that never existed. But a part of you watches, wonders, waits, and that part can ask a simple question: am I awake? It is a question that echoes across the stages of consciousness, from waking to dreaming to paralysis and back. A loop, a spiral, a dance in false awakenings. The body still rests, but the mind simulates routine. It copies the shape of your world, and sometimes it copies fear, too. You may relive paralysis again inside a dreamer. Dream within a dream. This nesting of experiences can be confusing, disorienting, but also profound. It reminds you that reality is not always what it seems, that perception is not passive, that the mind builds the world you walk through, awake or not. And in that knowing, something shifts. The dream becomes less of a trap, more of a playground. The paralysis, less of a prison, more of a portal. Some who journey through these layers learn to travel them. They anchor themselves with habits-checking watches, counting fingers, seeking mirrors. In dreams, these details often fail. A clue that this world is made, not given. And once you know you're dreaming, you can choose to fly, to speak with memory, to light a candle in the dark, or simply to observe. For even in sleep, your mind is curious. It wants to understand. It wants to learn, even in dreams. And so it practices. It rehearses fear. It replays emotion. It rewrites. False awakenings are one of its tools. They let you experience the familiar in an unfamiliar way. They let you question what you take for granted. The bed, the door, the light. Are they real? Or reflections in the deep? And if you wake from a dream, how do you know this isn't another one? The veil between dreaming and waking is thin, and sometimes it ripples. It whispers. It reminds you that the next moment of sleep paralysis might not end in fear, but in flight. That within the stillness lies a doorway, a choice, and as you drift now, asleep, not fully awake, you carry the question with you. If this is not real, what would you choose to make of it? And what if your body's stillness was never a trap, but an invitation? To understand it, we must look deeper at the purpose of that stillness. We must ask, why does the brain lock the body at all? What is it protecting you from? That is where we go next. Stillness, not as absence, but as design. Not as error, but as purpose. Your body lies motionless during certain dreams, and you may think something is wrong. But the truth is simpler, more elegant, more kind. The stillness is protection. This chapter begins deep inside your brainstem, where ancient structures whisper commands. One of them is the pons, a gentle knot of tissue that serves as the gateway between wakefulness and sleep. When you dream during REM sleep, the pons sends signals downward silencing your motor neurons. Your muscles go quiet. Your limbs fall into rest. This paralysis is called REM, ATONIA. It keeps you safe because in your dreams you run, you fall, you dance, you fight, you fly. And without REM atonia, your body might try to do the same. Without this silent restraint, your sleeping form could rise, move, or even strike not out of will. But from dream commands, misunderstood, so the brain chooses stillness. It sends your consciousness on an inward voyage, and it keeps your vessel anchored. Your body sleeps, and your mind explores. Most of the time, this mechanism works perfectly. You dream vividly, and your body remains calm. You wake up, and the signals lift, returning movement to your limbs. The transition is seamless, but sometimes that transition misfires. Sometimes you wake before the atonia has lifted. The mind returns, but the body is still dreaming, and you feel trapped. Yet even in that moment, that terrifying stillness, your brain is not failing. It is simply lagging behind its own orchestration. The gears are still turning. The signals are still shifting. Like a theater whose lights are up, but the curtains have yet to rise. This misalignment is not a malfunction. It is a delay. A few seconds, a minute, and then the curtain opens. Understanding this changes things. What once felt like paralysis becomes a pause. What once felt like horror becomes a held breath in the ballet of sleep. Your brain choreographs this every night. It pulls you into REM 4 or 5 times as you sleep. Each time, the body stills, the eyes flicker, the dreams unfold. You never notice, you never fear. It is quiet, invisible, vital, and it is not unique to you. All mammals experience REM atonia. Cats, dogs, dolphins. It is a shared inheritance from evolution's long journey through sleep. Watch a dog twitch in its sleep, its paws paddling, its nose twitching. You are witnessing the boundary between movement and stillness. Sometimes that boundary wavers. There is a condition known as REM behavior disorder. In it, the paralysis fails. The body moves. The dreams play out in motion. This is dangerous. People may fall, strike out, or harm themselves unknowingly. So, sleep paralysis, in its essence, is the opposite. Too much stillness, but it is safer. Then too little dot, and so this ancient mechanism continues. Like a gatekeeper, the brainstem watches over the dream. It ensures that the world you create while sleeping remains inside, contained, intact, you may ask. Then, why does the mind sometimes awaken early? The answer is still unfolding in science. Stress plays a role. sleep deprivation, irregular schedules, even genetics. These factors nudge the delicate machinery of REM into stuttered steps, and when your mind wakes first, before the signal to move arrives, that is sleep paralysis, but knowledge is power. If you know that your stillness is a system, you can greet it with understanding. If you know that your body is not broken, you can wait with calm. You are not paralyzed. You are protected. Your brain is buffering reality, like a film loading in soft silence, and soon the motion will return. The world will flow again. Kdo will rise, and your breath will deepen. Your hands will move. Stillness will become motion. Sleep is full of hidden systems like this, silent guardians you never knew were there. They do their work in the dark, in the hush of night, asking for nothing but trust. And the more you learn, the more you trust. So now, you may wonder if your breath felt shallow during paralysis. Was it also a design? Was it fear or something more? To understand the breath, that quiet rhythm in the center of all sleep, we must now turn toward it, to the soft rise and fall, to the stillness between I and H, LES, to what happens when fear meets the lungs. That is where we go next. It begins with breath, even before your eyes flutter open. Even before the world returns, your breath is there, soft, steady, holding you. But in sleep paralysis, it doesn't always feel that way. It feels tight, shallow, as though your lungs have forgotten how to rise. As though something heavy sits atop your chest. Fear creeps in quickly, and panic follows. But here is the gentle truth. Your breath never stops. It only hides beneath the surface of awareness. Your body continues its ancient rhythm, even when your mind believes it can't. During REM sleep, your breathing shifts. It becomes more irregular, more sensitive to the dream. It mimics the emotional tones of the mind, faster during a chase, slower during peace. The chest moves, the diaphragm pulls, but lightly. The body is calm. When you awaken into sleep paralysis, you may become suddenly aware of this subdued breath and mistake it for absence. Your chest doesn't rise dramatically. You cannot command a deep breath. You try and fail in the fear. Builds but the breath is still there, quiet, consistent, caring. Your lungs are not frozen. Your muscles are not failing. They're simply suspended in the softened rhythm of REM. You are watching something that usually runs without you. It's like noticing your heartbeat for the first time and worrying it will stop, but it won't, because your body breathes with or without your permission. Your autonomic nervous system holds the reins. Even in paralysis, even in fear, it continues. You are held, so why the feeling of suffocation? Because fear tightens when panic begins. It sends signals through the amygdala, brain's fear center. These signals trigger a fight or flight response. Your heart speeds, muscles tense, your perception narrows. But in sleep paralysis, there is no movement. The body cannot run. The tension has nowhere to go. And so it concentrates, sharpens, spirals. Asterisk fear, fears. You interpret the pressure in your chest as danger. You imagine a presence, a weight, a figure. The fear paints a story across your body's stillness. But that story isn't always true. It is a projection. The mind's attempt to explain the inexplicable. It reaches into myth, into memory, into shadow, and conjures forms. But beneath all that, your breath continues gently, faithfully. There are ways to anchor yourself in that truth, to find the rhythm again, to notice the exhale even when the inhale feels small, to focus on the belly's subtle rise, the nose's quiet wind. In mindfulness practice, they teach you to return to the breath. In sleep paralysis, it becomes your lifeline. You can't move your limbs. You can't speak, but you can feel. Can listen inward, and the breath, once feared, becomes comfort. It tells you this moment. It tells you you are safe. It tells you you are still. Here, this is not suffocation. It is the echo of a system doing its job. And if you can breathe with the fear not against it, you can soften its grip. You may not be able to change the experience, but you can ride it like a wave. Each wave begins with panic, but each wave also ends. The body that breathes through the night also breathes through fear. You have been here before. You have survived every time, and you are not alone in this. Millions have felt the same darkness, the same weight, the same breathless dread, and yet they woke, they walked again, they told their stories. So now you lie still. But you know something new. Your breath does not abandon you. It simply asks for patience, and maybe, just maybe, that breath is not just biology. Maybe it is presence. Maybe it is the soft thread that connects you to the waking world, a thread you can follow back. A breath is a bridge, and when the body is quiet and the fear is loud, the breath becomes a guide in the next chapter. We follow that guide deeper into the visions, the voices, the forms that seem to appear in the dark, hallucination, or something else. What does the brain see when it cannot move? We'll find out together. You are still, but your senses stir. The room is dark, and yet you see something, a shape at the edge of the bed, a whisper behind your ear, a feeling that you are not alone. Sleep paralysis is not just silence. Sometimes it is sound. Sometimes it is vision. Sometimes it is presence. And always it is born within you. These moments are called hypnopompic hallucinations when they occur upon waking, and hypnagogic hallucinations when they appear as you fall asleep. But names do not lessen their intensity. You may see figures, shadowy, unmoving, or hear voices, murmurs, footsteps, breathing, or feel touches, pressure on the chest, fingers on the skin, the weight of something unseen, but none of it comes from outside. It rises from the same place your dreams come from, the theater of the mind. And during sleep paralysis, the curtain is left ajar. You are awake enough to see the stage, but the dream has not yet stopped performing. It is a surreal overlap. Your sensory system, partly restored, still interprets the dreams remains as real. Your mind, unsure, tries to make sense of the contradiction. It pulls from memory, emotion, myth, and so your fear becomes shape. The shadow at the foot of the bed. It may be your brain's interpretation of the unknown, a placeholder, a silhouette filled in by expectation. You expect danger, so it appears. Your brain is a storyteller, especially when frightened. It prefers a terrifying answer to no answer at all. It constructs meaning from fragments, and in the dark, the fragments multiply. This is not madness. It is narrative survival. In ancient days, hearing a rustle in the dark and assuming danger increased your chance of living. Better to see a ghost and survive than miss a predator and perish. So even now, your brain leans into caution, into shadows, into fiction. But not all hallucinations are terrifying. Some people report peace, beings of light, visions of floating, out-of-body sensations, the feeling of being cradled or watched by something kind. These, too, come from within. Your emotional state, your culture, your beliefs, they color the hallucination. What you carry inside appears on the stage, and perhaps that's the secret. The hallucination is not random. It is a mirror. It reflects your fears, yes, but also your longings, your wonder, your archetypes. Carl Jung might call them shadow selves. Neuroscience calls them pattern recognition gone awry. But you can call them what you need to. Stories from the hidden mind. If you do not believe them, they lose power. But if you listen without fear, they can teach. What story is your brain telling? What shape does your fear take? What memory echoes in the imagined voice? This is not about believing in spirits. It is about understanding the mind's need to fill silence with meaning, to explain stillness with presence, and the longer you linger in paralysis, the longer the brain is left to interpret its half-waking state. But here's what helps: remembering the source. This figure is not real. This voice is not coming from beyond. This sensation is not danger. They are projections, exquisite, terrifying, personal and temporary. You are watching your brain interpret darkness. And the more you understand this, the less power these visions have. Some people even train to reframe them. Lucid dreamers, meditators, explorers of the mind. They enter paralysis on purpose. They greet the shadows with curiosity. And sometimes the shadow changes, it softens. It becomes guide instead of ghost. This chapter does not offer you a shield, but it offers a lantern, a way to look inward instead of away. You do not need to fight the vision. You only need to understand its origin and know that it will pass. Soon, the body will move. The light will change. The world will return. But for now, you rest inside this mystery. And next, we turn our attention outward beyond the self into the stories of others. Across time, across cultures, across mythologies, for what you see in the dark, you are not the first to see it. Let's go there together. Asterisk. You are not alone. What you feel in sleep, paralysis, the stillness. Across centuries, across continents, and they, too, tried to make sense of it. They gave it names. They told stories. They shaped the unknown into something they could grasp. In Scandinavia, they spoke of the mare, a spirit that rides your chest, pressing the breath from your lungs. This is where the word nightmare was born. In Japan, the experience is called kanashibari, to be bound in metal, a supernatural force that paralyzes you in sleep. In Newfoundland, it's the old hag, a crone who sits on the sleeper, stealing breath. In West Africa, it's a demon called Ogun, O-R-U. In Thailand, it's the ghost of the dead. Phi-am. Each name, each image, reflects something shared, a universal human reaction to a specific state of consciousness, sleep. Paralysis is the same across the globe, but the stories are different. And those stories matter, because what you expect in that liminal space can shape what you see. If you grow up fearing a dark figure, your brain may supply it. If your culture tells of ancestral spirits, you may feel their presence. If your religion teaches of demons or angels, your hallucination may wear that mask. The brain is suggestible, especially in altered states. It does not invent in isolation. It borrows. It recalls. it reinterprets, even now, in the modern world. Where science explains the phenomenon, many still feel a deep-rooted fear, because science does not erase emotion. It can explain the ghost, but the ghost still lingers. The cultural echoes run deep, but they also offer something beautiful. Connection. You are part of a long human story. You are not broken. You are not cursed. You are participating in a myth older than language. And that myth can be reshaped. Some cultures view sleep paralysis as spiritual contact, not torment, a sign of awakening, a doorway to the other world. In Tibetan Buddhism, dream yoga teaches one to remain conscious in dreams, to use paralysis as a gateway to awareness. In many indigenous traditions, dreams and visions are honored, not feared. So, too, can you reframe your experience? Instead of panic, pause. Instead of shadow, symbol. Dot instead of curse. Story. What if the figure on your chest is not your enemy, but your fear wearing a face? What if the stillness is not prison, but passage? The more you learn, the less the fear takes hold, because knowledge changes the dream. And once you know that others have walked this path and survived it, and sung of it, and turned it into legend, you begin to listen, and in that listening, the shadow shifts. The mind stops fighting itself. It starts wondering, instead, what else might sleep be hiding? What else might the brain be capable of in the in-between? In the next chapter, we take this wonder and turn it practical. We ask, can we prevent these episodes? Can we prepare the mind and body for peace? The answers lie ahead. For now, you rest in the knowledge that you are never alone in the dark. You are not powerless. That is the quiet truth at the heart of this chapter. Sleep paralysis may come without warning, but it does not come without pattern. It follows rhythms, responds to stress, listens in its own way to how you live, and once you begin to listen back softly, patiently, you begin to find ways to change the rhythm. Sleep is not just one long descent into night. It is shaped by cycles, the slow waves of deep sleep, the rapid flickers of REM. Sleep paralysis arises most often in REM, the dream-rich, motionless phase. Here, your brain is alive with story, but your muscles are stilled. If your sleep is interrupted, if you are overtired, if your REM comes too quickly or too often, the stage is set. And so, prevention begins not in the moment of paralysis, but in the hours before, in the way you wind down, in the choices your body remembers. Sleep. Hygiene is a gentle phrase, but a powerful one. It means honoring the rhythms of your biology. It means protecting the borders of your rest. You start with the basics, a regular sleep schedule, a room that welcomes rest, darkness, quiet, cool air. No bright screens to trick the brain into thinking it is day. You let your body know night has come. You are safe. You may let go caffeine, alcohol, irregular sleep, or long naps can all disrupt the delicate architecture of rest. They stir the REM cycle into strange configurations, and sometimes that leads you to wake too soon, mind first, body second, so you reduce what disrupts, and you increase what soothes. Gentle stretches before bed, a warm shower, a soft breath practice, a short meditation. Each of these tells the nervous system, relax. Nothing needs fixing right now. If your sleep paralysis happens often when sleeping on your back, try shifting positions. Side sleeping may change the angle of the experience for some. Sleep apnea contributes a hidden breathing interruption that jolts the brain awake. In those cases, seeking medical guidance can bring peace. But not all causes are physical. Emotions play a role. Stress, anxiety, trauma, they do not disappear at night. They wait behind closed eyes, and the mind, ever vigilant, may wake too early in their presence. So healing becomes part of prevention too. You speak gently to your fears. You let go of what you cannot control. You write down your dreams. Talk about your experiences. You remind yourself, this is common. This is survivable. This is not the end of sleep. Some keep a dream journal, noting the night and conditions of each episode. Over time, patterns appear. Perhaps it's after certain foods, or following stressful days, or linked to specific routines. With awareness comes agency, not you become a quiet scientist of your own. Sleep, not to control it, but to understand it. And the more you understand, the more your fear dissolves. The less you fear, the less the body panics. The less panic, the gentler the night. This is not a cure, but it is care. And that care matters, because what you do during the day writes itself into your dreams. It echoes into your paralysis. It shapes the silence between breaths. So you live gently, you listen to the cues, and you learn to trust yourself again, even when still, even when afraid. There are always steps you can take, and even if sleep paralysis visits again, it will not find you helpless. It will find you informed, prepared, rooted. In the final chapter, we return not to avoidance, but to embrace. What happens when we meet sleep paralysis without resistance? What beauty can be found in reclaiming the night? We end where all good journeys do, not in escape, but in understanding. And now, you come full circle. You lie in bed, still, aware, but no longer afraid. This is not the enemy you once thought it was. It is not a curse or a punishment. It is a signal, a message from the deep architecture of sleep. And in listening to it without fear, you reclaim the night. You do not fight what comes. You do not run from the stillness. You greet it like fog, drifting in strange, soft, harmless. You know it will pass in this chapter. You remember all you've learned. The body freezes to keep you safe. The mind creates shadows to explain uncertainty. The breath continues, even when it feels like it won't. Your thoughts, emotions, and memories shape what you see, but they are not the whole of reality. You are the one who watches, and from this place of watching, you begin to choose. You choose calm over panic, curiosity over dread, understanding over myth, and in doing so, something changes. The paralysis softens. The hallucination fades. Or, if it remains, it does so without power. You are not trapped. You are transitioning from wake to sleep, from fear to awareness. This, too, is a skill. To lie still and feel the mind return to you without flinching. To observe without resisting. It may take time. It may take practice. But every time you meet the night with softness, the night softens back. What once was shadow becomes symbol. What once was terror becomes teacher. Sleep paralysis, in its way, offers insight. It reveals how the brain works under pressure. It unveils the bridge between dream and wake. It invites a kind of mindfulness few ever experience, and now, you have walked that bridge, slowly, carefully, with eyes open. You have crossed the myths of many lands. You have understood the body's wisdom. You have explored the quiet science of sensation, and you return not with fear, but with wonder. This night is yours, so you breathe in deeply. You let your body rest. You trust the stillness, and if sleep paralysis visits again, you will know this, too, is a passing cloud. You are safe. You are present. You are dreaming and awake, both at once, and that is something miraculous. Now, close your eyes and let go.